you got one.
What's your position on the proposed changes to the Connecticut Commuter Council? The change in-
Oh, I'm very involved in that, I might add, and I just
That's
talked to
why
the
I'm
governor's
here.
office, yes, absolutely, because we chose someone from this area to be on the commuter council, because I want them to ride the Danbury rail line, and they have a voice there. They have voices on the main line, they've got voices on Shore Line East, we have some folks from the Waterbury line, that's very important. It was a power grab, but some of us think it might also be a diversionary tactic to keep them from weighing in on some of the things that they don't want them to weigh in on. They tend to be a very vocal group. And we've been and I've been very outspoken on, you can't have the governor choosing the chair of a committee that's supposed to be lobbying against his executive branch department in the DOT. The DOT, they don't like the fact that they complain about things that they're trying to put, like increased fares, or there's other things as well, for that matter. And the current chair is very, very vocal, and he sometimes can be tough to deal with. But he was just as vocal against Jody Grell. He was just as tough against John Rowland. He has been their voice, very strong voice. So what we are suggesting is that, yes, you can also expand the commuter council, add some folks from the future Springfield line, from Hartford to Springfield, but leave the governance to that council. They choose their own. If they don't like him and he's too argumentative, then they can choose someone else on that committee. And it's a very, diverse group of people. In fact, my old opponent that is a member of that, as well as someone that supported me, but they're trained people, and they really believe in that, and they're nonpartisan as to who they criticize. It doesn't matter what political party you are, it's just that they are there for the commuters who are so beleaguered and tired, they do not have time, to go to Hartford, to testify, to write articles about them. So I'm fairly confident, we got some language from them that will change what the governor's proposal is, and I'm hearing from the governor's liaison that he did tell me that they were willing to listen to that. So stay tuned.
I think Julia, what's next?
Are you all,
Follow up?
are you all in agreement with that position?
Yeah,
Yeah.
generally speaking, yeah, that's right.
They should choose their own chairman, no question.
How about you? Are you in agreement with that
Is
position?
that's sort of the idea, was to sort of have a semi-autonomous body.
But you know what, that's also a move that recently to combine all of the Department of Elections and Enforcement that are supposed to be overseeing, problems within government. He was trying to consolidate them, put that under their auspices as well. And the media got a hold of that and said, hey, hold it, wait a minute, you can't have, that's a total conflict of interest. How are they gonna be nonpartisan?
Julia had a question in the back. Julia, were you next?
I did. It was more specific to writing, and I wondered if you, John, or Dan, had any information about the DOT project that will be installing gates and new lighting, safety at the Reading train station on Long Ridge.
I think it's supposed to be in October. Right?
Yeah, right.
This has been
It's coming.
negotiated. Yeah, but they also are speeding up the process, so it'll be sooner rather than later. They're very sensitive about what happened there. And we did have a meeting, Natalie was in on the meeting, we all got together and talked to the commissioner, and yes, they're
That will be
moving
coming.
faster.
I did have to read a piece of communication, and I'm hoping what I read is a typo. I won't say that loud, but I'm shocked at the cost of the project.
What was the number you saw?
$76 million.
That's
No,
gotta be.
no, that's a typo.
I think it's
That's-
it might be 7.6 or something.
Right,
No,
there were a lot of.
I don't even know what's that.
No, it's not
Well,
that.
I know, so when I'm thinking about the stakes and some of the trouble, I turned around and I was in the selectman's office and Natalie was not there, and I said to
Well, the
her,
extra
That's
goes
the whole
to.
special transportation.
From 7% to 14%.
must be a typo, so you're assuring me it's a
Yes,
typo.
it's absolute typo.
Well, if the extra goes to the town, are you okay with that?
But I do have to tell you that to get a bathroom at one of our train stations on this line once, which we estimated $50,000, it ended up costing $800,000. So they don't, it is
It's a nice
insane,
bathroom.
it really is insane.
I think John, actually he and then John.
Thank you.
While we see this precipitous increase in taxes, while at the same time you've seen a dramatic downturn in the economy since 2007, do you have any figures on how many businesses are fleeing the state and individuals?
It's funny, I actually had my intern do a little bit of research. It's loosey-goosey numbers because we always say businesses leaving, and this is really kind of a hard way to grab that. So what I said, let's do this, find out how many, and it's an inaccurate number, but I think illustrative. Find out how many tax returns, corporate tax returns, and tax return, to the extent you could identify an LLP or an LLC, whatever, have the DRS do it. Find out the number of tax returns. Because some people look at the amount of, the number of businesses being registered, that's meaningless, because one person can register 50 businesses in a day and only one of them does business. The numbers have been creeping down over the last 4 years in the single digits. And I forget the numbers, I don't have them with me, I don't believe, but the numbers are going
Yeah,
down.
what are the inaccuracies in numbers?
I left.
We have businesses, we have
two
people
small
who are corporate too.
businesses.
You're-
I live in Connecticut, and
Okay.
I chose the less of two evils. I opened my business in New York.
Went across the line.
Oh, and that just happened recently,
Yeah.
we've lost a couple over to Massachusetts, remember Massachusetts? Actually, no, actually, the way you can also, check that out is because at 1994, or 92, we actually had, an incredible precipitous increase in, the cost of government. We've had, a flatline population base, and we have not really added one new net private sector job. We've had
20 years.
gains and losses, and for all of the gains that the governor's been trying to pay for, we've had, every week now you'll get 250 people leaving. And there's a whole number, in fact, I have a couple examples here that I wrote down before coming here. But it seems that for every 100 jobs we're making, we're losing 200 on the other end, particularly in the last couple of years, I would say.
We're starting to lose people too, that's the other thing.
Yeah.
We're actually starting to lose population. I mean, you've heard the 6 month and a day, routines, like you go to Florida for 6 months and a day, and guess what, you're a Florida resident. Suddenly you're off our tax rolls even though you're up here half the year. Or you cross over, do your business in Katona or Brewster, wherever you go. The numbers are going down. Is it, 10%? No, it's 1%, 2%, it's a slow trickle down. It is.
It was just
John,
reported too
you-
that our actual wealth quotient or increase in our paychecks in Connecticut was the second slowest in the country. It was a 1.9% increase in a person's income during this recessionary period, and inflation was 1.8%. So we're just about flat line, whereas other places are really seeing an increase. In fact, I think recently they said that, in fact, New Jersey and New York had increased their job, or recovered their job losses, 25,000 in New Jersey and 35,000 in New York, and Connecticut was flat.
Flat.
John, you got a question?
Yeah. Some of you may know I'm a university senator over at Western Connecticut State University, and an issue which we've been focusing a lot on, especially at the CSU level, is the tuition increases. And I assume probably a lot of you know that each one of you as taxpayers subsidizes me to go to Western Connecticut State University and any other of the CSUs. So your taxes are essentially helping me to go to school. What my real, and I know that the higher ed committee has had a lot of bills coming out of the committee the past few days. So my big thing is student representation, in the fact that there were several bills which came out which took away student representation on for example, Senate Bill 878, changing the statutes to take them off of university police forces or whatever. So my real sort of grievance here is the fact that the Board of Regents is increasing tuition, which I think that all the taxpayers should be annoyed about, because Governor Malloy said that he wasn't going to increase taxes, yet essentially he is indirectly increasing taxes
Parents and students.
by raising tuition. So I just wanted to maybe get a response from.
Well, John, you should be commended because John has been an organizer of campuses, not just here at WestCon, but also at Central Connecticut, and they actually stayed a rally in front of the Board of Regents meeting last week when they were about to do this raise. And there's been a serious problem at the Board of Regents, and the Higher Education Committee bipartisanly asked and called for the resignation, which we got, of the first president of this new Board of Regents. And actually, we've changed the law now to reflect that the governor no longer can choose the president, but in fact, the Board of Regents gets to choose a president. This new president raised his salary and others 27%. It was absolutely outrageous, right off the bat. $25,000 worth of free extra money during the summer, unvouchered expenses.
What was his total package?
Oh, it was actually outrageous, outrageous.
Over 3.
So we are
It was an
making,
amazing job.
but they do get to approve or disapprove a tuition increase. And quite frankly, the state university system has been notorious over the past in having 12 and 14% tuition increases. They're saying now that they're being squeezed by state government not giving them enough to substantiate their biggest line item, which is salaries, benefits, and so on. So they've tacked a 5% increase in tuitions and another 5% on fees. So if you add those two together, we're still talking at a double-digit increase for students and parents at the worst possible time. And we've written about it, and it's unfortunate. But guess who gets the real blame when you think about it? Okay, the real blame comes right back to the legislature. The executive branch actually negotiated